You're listening to Metal and High Heels, the official podcast from the magazine about metal, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Metal and High Heels podcast. I'm your host, Kiki, and I am here today with Steffi. And we have a lovely guest, Heidi Parviainen. How are you doing, Heidi?
Hi, I'm doing really well, thank you. Hope you are doing well too.
Yes, thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself shortly for the listeners who don't know you yet?
Sure. So I'm Heidi Parviainen from Finland and from a band called Dark Sarah, and we play cinematic metal.
Yeah, you're very established in the sympho metal genre.
Yeah.
You were for 6 years the lead singer of Barbarian Dawn, and since 2012, you're doing your own music project with Dark Sarah.
Yeah.
And so maybe first question and just back to the roots. When did you start singing and why did you choose the classical style?
I was really young actually when I started taking classical singing lessons. I was 14, but of course I had been going to this kind of musical based school, primary school, where we had more music than on normal classes. And I was really into music already, and I sang in choirs. But the thing when I realized that I needed to have some singing lessons was because I felt a discomfort when I was singing, and that's why I started taking lessons. And I got really into the classical style already that young, and I continued singing in choirs. But in high school, I was asked to join my first metal band, and it was in 1997 already.
Wow.
Yes, and it was death metal band, and I had no idea what metal music was. Of course, I had been hearing it from radio and so on, but I didn't have my personal kind of connection to metal world at all at that point. So it was like straight to the deep end, in my point of view. So I started searching a little bit more what metal music is, and I learned that there are a lot of different kind of genres in metal music. So I started finding bands like, of course, Nightwish was already existing then, and they had just I think they released their first album. Was it already in 1997? I'm not sure, but anyway, classical singers started to come into metal music already then, and I was thinking that maybe I could someday sing in a metal band, but in my band at that moment it wasn't possible. So I started to seek a metal band. It was 2006, and then Amberian Dawn contacted me, and the rest we know, actually, what happened after that. Yes.
Exactly. Indeed, we had an interview with you back in 2014 when you were just starting out with Dark Sarah, and you were telling us about the project and about the concept of the story and of kind of becoming Dark Sarah yourself. And you did that for 3 albums. Behind the Black Veil, The Puzzle, and The Golden Moth.
Mhm.
Which, in my opinion, was my favorite of the 3. The Golden Moth is an amazing album.
Oh, thanks.
It actually gave me a lot of Disney feels.
It was meant to be like that.
That was really lovely. So you are a Disney metal princess.
Yes, I could say that. Yeah.
And so now you are dropping Sarah for a moment, maybe because your latest album, Grim, that just came out on July 17th and is the 4th studio album. There you introduced a new character called Luna.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us her story, maybe?
Yeah, actually, we are not dropping that much Dark Sarah, but of course a different part of her is now living because Dark Sarah died in the end of the Golden Moth. So now we are seeing her kind of this kind of a new, how do you say, what is it in English? Incarnation. Yes. So incarnation. So Luna is one part of Dark Sarah, and in the Grimm album she also finds out about her past, what had happened to her in her previous life, and that has a certain meaning in her story too. So just a little bit like a glimpse to this story, this new album, and of course it's a beginning of a new continuing story too.
That was actually going to be a question as well. Is this the start of a new trilogy or maybe another kind of series?
Yes, I haven't decided actually how many albums it's going to be, because I always want to kind of write what, if it feels like it's this part of the story comes to an end with 2 albums, then it will be that. So but if it needs more, of course there can be more. It doesn't need to be a trilogy.
Okay. Something that is not clear to me yet is, are your bandmates the same than in the previous albums?
Yes, almost, because J.P. Leppäluoto, who was singing the role of the dragon in the last album of the first trilogy, so he's not part of our band anymore. But he's our friend, and we have invited him to sing on the Grimm album too, but not anymore as a band member, but as our friend and a guest. But the other boys, the same as when I started Dark Sarah.
All right.
Almost, actually. There was a slight change because it was many years ago already. I forgot it because we have Thomas Tunkari is playing the drums, but he has been from the Puzzle album already in our band. So in that way, it's almost like he has been there forever. Yeah.
And how did you find your bandmates? Are they just already before were friends, or?
Sami, who is the guitar player, he's my husband, and Erkka. We kind of started to find suitable players, musicians for Dark Sarah when I think it was already on the first album, and I needed to have a like former band, so proper band. So I was trying to find a guitarist, and Erkka Korhonen was then there, and I asked him to join, and he has been the same in the band from the very start. And also Erkka's really good friend Rude Rudsten, who is playing the bass. He has been there also forever in Dark Sarah. And actually, it was really fun story when he joined the band, because I needed to have a replacement for Jukka, who was playing bass in the beginning, and he couldn't play in the band anymore, and we needed to have a bass player when we were going to the metal festival in Belgium, this female fronted metal fest, and we didn't have a bass player. So first thing, and when I called him, I asked him his social security number, so I could book the flights. so and from that moment on, he has been in the band. So yeah, it was fun story. He always reminds me about that. Yes. Did I forget someone? I think not. Yeah.
That is so cool that you can also that you are staying strong and together throughout the years, and the new concepts and new stories that you are telling.
Yeah, it's really lovely to have the same group, and of course we have become really close friends too during these years, and we spend a lot of time together outside the music too. We go to sauna and go eat dinner out and so on. Yeah.
That is so nice. Tell us a little bit about the songwriting and recording of this album. Was it ready? It was probably done before the whole pandemic started to have its effect on the world, right?
Yeah, it was, and luckily, luckily so. We ended a recording and mastering session was actually on the New Year's. So last year already, yes. So it was really early ready, and no, it was in the end of the latter year. Years go by so fast, and when you are waiting for an album to
Yes.
be released, it's like it seems like a decade. So that's why I always skip some months. But anyway, it was way early recorded, and in that way, the pandemic didn't affect our songwriting nor the recording sessions. But
Mhm.
but when we started like the marketing and everything like that, the pandemic was on already. So also it affected on our music video sessions and everything like that.
Oh,
So
wow.
so in that way, it was really um, it couldn't have happened. It was really something that couldn't have happened because of the pandemic. So just a week before the scheduled shooting session, the borders in Finland, because we couldn't move anywhere from the southern Finland. So
Mhm.
just a week before they were opened again. So so it was just like a not to happen. Yeah.
Oh, but you had finished the complete album before that, and there were some bands that had kind of the same or were at the same stage of the process of putting out an album, and some decided to postpone the release, and some like you decided to just go with it and release it in the middle of the global pandemic. How did all of this affect your plans or change your plans other than the shooting of the videos?
We didn't actually even talk about changing the schedule anymore. So we had uh, booked already the summertime for releasing this album, and because
Hmm.
we had already been waiting like more than 6 months for the release, we didn't want to postpone it anymore, because we have never had tours, like big tours or anything like that. So
Okay.
in our case, it wasn't that devastating as it could be for a band who is kind of all the time on tour and doing that every time, between albums, more than releasing music videos. Like we are
Okay.
releasing music videos more than we have shows. So but that's
Mhm.
that's kind of the case. So that's why we wanted to release it and not to wait, but also because I think that we needed something in the summertime. We needed to have something to wait for, to get
Yeah.
over the depressing time at home, and staying at home, and fear of the the virus and everything like that. We needed to have some kind of you know that makes us happy. And in
Yes,
that
something to
way,
look
I think,
forward to.
yes, I think that's just what our album, this grim album, yes, brought us a little bit something to look forward to.
And are you happy with the feedback that you've been receiving and how things turned out after the release?
Yes, we have been really happy, and it was really good all the time, the feedback, and even though we changed it a little bit, our sound in the production ways, and I think that it was well received. So I think that we're going to go forward from that. So, and with that.
So it's an evolution of your sound. Can you tell us a little bit more about these changes, everything that, how you have evolved as an artist with this record?
I have evolved as an artist and a singer and a songwriter and as a person through these years. And every album is kind of like a picture of the time and myself. And every time I listen to the uh, former previous albums, I kind of get into the mood that I was in when I was making that album. So in that way, I think that it's really a personal growth story for me as a person and an artist too. So yes, I have. There's so much that I can't even name anything, but of course, sound ways. We wanted to kind of give more space to the this kind of synth sounds on this album than on the orchestral sounds, like a symphonic metal, and have a little bit more modern approach to the symphonic metal genre. It's still sounding big and really like pompous, but but not so much like we have used to be hearing this kind of symphonic metal sound. So in that way, I think that we managed quite well to still bring the Dark Sarah into this new kind of new sound and this new production.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's still you. It's indeed different. It does sound different, but it's still you.
Yeah, it's really, really nice, and it's also really refreshing. I wanted to, now that we were starting a new continuing story with new protagonist and new story and new surroundings and everything new. So I felt that it was a good time also to bring out our fresh new sound too, because my songwriting had developed into this kind of direction, and I felt that it would be a good time to showcase it a little.
And how's the songwriting process for you? And yeah, the inspiration for the storyline, because yeah, there are concept albums. You tell a very huge story, especially for Daxera.
Yeah, it's I nowadays I write almost everything on my own, but or in I co-write with our producer Mikko P. Mustonen, who has been our producer from the start, and we have also written songs together in the past too. But for this album and the Golden Moth album, there was a lot of on the Golden Moth album there was a lot of my own compositions, but on this album they are mostly mine. But of course there are some kind of C parts or something that we have worked together with. But of course Mikko has we have been talking a lot about the sound and everything like that, what kind of direction I want the music to go forward to. And so in that way we work really closely together on when we're making an album. So I kind of feel that he's a one part of Dark Sarah too. So in that way, because he has been making Dark Sarah from the start, and he knows really well what we are all about. And about the lyric writing or this story writing, I don't know what draws me into writing complete stories. I think that I was already into it when I was in Amberian Dawn, but back then, because Tuomas was the leader of the band and he had different kind of idea for the albums. So in that way, I wrote mini stories. So they are kind of like every song is a story itself. And when I started Dark Sarah, I kind of wanted to try out what it would be if the album would tell a complete story. And I think that Dark Sarah fans have found it really something that they look forward to, and I'm really happy about it, because it's not, because people mostly hear one song there and one song there, so it doesn't still create a a complete idea of the concept album yet. So, but I think that our fans have found it really nice and something special, that is Dark Sarah. Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
You mentioned something before about Dark Sarah being reincarnated in Luna.
Yeah.
Is that something you personally believe in? Reincarnation?
I'm not a believer. I don't believe in anything. But I like to imagine a lot of stories and different kind of things, and what tickle my imagination, like the witchy stuff and pagan myths and different kind of cultures and so on. So I draw a lot of ideas from different things. So in that way, it's not what I believe in, but it's something that I felt that would be a good kind of a connection from the Golden Moth to the Grimm album, because our band name is still Dark Sarah. So I wanted it not to be a completely different character, but have some kind of connection to the past albums too.
So would you like to describe Daxara as your alter ego?
Yeah, I think so. There has been times that I have said that it's not my alter ego, but now that I look back, I think that she is, because because every time I've been writing an album, it always it's like a mirror to my self unconscious. So all the things that have happened to me back then and in that life and in my past and everything like that, it's I think every writer writes something about him or her and the experiences from life, even though I've not been left on altar, but I've been certainly left but not on altar. So I think that we can all connect to Dark Sarah, and even though she's a fictive character, but of course there is something me too in her, and also in Luna.
Yeah. You were just talking about mythology, etc. Is there some specific Finnish mythology that you like best?
Of course, Kalevala. It's our national epic. I think that many people know Kalevala already, because it was when I started in metal band in Amber and Dawn, or even before. I think that Kalevala was the thing that metal bands were kind of pouring their inspiration from, and lots of bands were writing lyrics based on Kalevala, and that's what I did too on the first Amber and Dawn album.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was River of Tuoni actually was our one of our songs, and it's based on River of Death, and that's that same River of Death is in many mythologies too. So it's really nice actually to have this kind of connection between different cultures, even though they are named differently, like Styx or whatever what other they are, I don't remember now. but a lot of different rivers. Yeah.
All right, that sounds really interesting. And that is actually, now that you mentioned, that song is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was our first single from the first album, and in that way it started the whole thing actually. Yeah, for me as a singer.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Such a milestone.
Yeah, yes, it has been quite many years ago actually, and it feels like a decade. It's almost actually like a decade.
Yeah. Did you have did you write more songs than the ones that are on the album, or was it from the beginning planned like what came out?
My style is that I pour a lot of music out of my system, and I don't judge them at all when I'm writing music, and that's what keeps me really productive, actually. So I don't evaluate my work at all at that point when I'm creating. So in that way, I write a lot of songs for Grim album. I think there was more than 30. So
Wow.
yes, of course, some are, they are demos, so they are not like you could put them on the album straight away. Of course, they are like
Sure.
ideas and like sketching on paper in that way. Even though, but they have a lot of they have the complete idea of the song and so on. And when I have made enough songs, we start talking with the band. I play them to my band, and of course they give their opinions about them, and we kind of have this kind of voting. I play records and everybody gives their voting for that song, and then I start talking, of course, with the producer, and in the way when I send him the demos, every time I make one, he gives me some kind of feedback or the feeling about that, and so on. So in that way, it's really creative process, actually. But I don't write the lyrics or anything at that point. Of course, I have some kind of story in my mind where what's the mood of the album and what kind of scenes there could be that we want to point out with songs, and so on. But of course, I don't decide anything before I have the songs, and we start pre-producing the album, and so from that moment on, I start making some kind of lyrics and singing something, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
trying them out. Of course, I sing on the demos too, but it's like baby English, so not meaningful words. Yeah, so it's a long process. But last time, I think I wrote 2 years for Cream album, even though it feels like we just released an album, but I always start writing straight away when I get one album out of my system. As at the moment, actually, I'm writing a new album.
Nice. Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Have you started the next one already? Okay.
Yes, I have, and I was just writing music when I was waiting for this interview. So, yeah.
Oh, lovely. That reminds me, unrelated question before we go back to the album. What instruments do you play besides singing?
I play piano, and I started as a keyboard player in metal band. I didn't sing at the at the point, only backing vocals, and I started as a like a singer of the band in Hungarian Dawn. So I sang backing vocals. So I play piano, and I've been studying that before I started studying singing. But of course, I play a lot when I'm teaching singing and everything, and I write everything with keyboards for dogs. So, but of course, I play a little bit accordion. What is it? The flute. I always forget the name. Yes, but it's some kind of sort of flute that I play a little, and I played it actually on the puzzle album in one part. Yes.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's not like playing. I couldn't play a concert with a flute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If I look at your cover albums, it seems to have a similar art style. Do you have an artist you work with, or how do you create the cover?
Yes, we have been working with Jan Urlund from Dark Road Designs from the start, and he has been making all our designs for starting from the album covers and T-shirts and everything like that. So maybe he has been creating Dark Sarah art for so long, so that's why it's good to have a certain artist who has this kind of his own style. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good for, yeah, how is it called? Like corporate style. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, that's what I wanted to have, especially when we were making a trilogy, so that it would be like from the same book kind of.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's really important in our case that our visuals are similar to in not too similar, but still feels like they could be from same book.
Oh, and you also changed the writing art of Daxera on
Yes, the
Grim.
yeah logo. Yeah,
Yeah, logo,
yeah.
that's the word.
Yes, I know. I mean, yeah, but yes, we changed, and that's what we were kind of wanting to do already before. But since we were making a trilogy, it wouldn't have fit in the, changing it in the middle of a trilogy. So we wanted to wait for this. So in that way, we are really excited for this new era of Dark Sarah because we can make a lot of changes and not to stay so true to past in that way, so we can be more creative and do changes and more modern look and everything like that. Yes, of course, and I myself too, so I can feel I've always felt that every album is in that way they kind of require a certain change in my personal look too. So I was waiting for Grim to kind of embrace my blonde hair again. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's you completely embodying this new phase of your music. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yes, I always feel that it's a good moment to have a personal changes to in and outside. Yeah.
So the blonde hair fits also to the name Luna, I would
Ye-
say, as
yeah,
in Moon.
I think so too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what was before, the blonde hair or the name of Luna?
Yes, it was actually I've been coloring my hair for many years and for black or dark brown, and it started to feel like uh exhausting actually. So I'm a natural blonde, so it felt easier to kind of be in my own color, and I think that Luna it works for her really well.
Um, the album came out as a crowdfunding campaign. You run another crowdfunding campaign, right?
Yeah,
But still,
again.
you
Yeah.
released it via Napalm Records. How did this decision come about? What was your strategy behind it?
Well, we had already started recording and everything like that, and we needed to have funding for the album because our album is are always quite big production albums, and they require a lot of funds. And in that way, we have been making our albums always with the support of our fans who buy our albums like a little bit before. So with the money that we get from selling merchandise and everything like that, and with the profit we use it for making music. So in that way, it has been the only way that we have been uh, that has been possible to make such big production albums, and that's what
Mhm.
I couldn't do it differently, we
Mhm.
because we have made certain sound, and if we would do it differently, I think that people would notice. So in that way, we can't, degrade from that idea.
Quality.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
yes, good quality albums with big production and everything, like, so it's really well made, everything. So that's what I wanted to do with Dark Sarah. And because it has always been like that, they cost a lot of money, of course, with the music videos and everything like that. So it's a lot of money, and in that way, at this point of our career, still it's not possible that we could get it from album sales. So we need to get it from somewhere else, and we have decided to sell merchandise and everything, like really exclusive merchandise and different kind of gifts and so on. So people have been really generous, and we have a really loyal fan base, so it has been possible. And when we were releasing the album and started to find a who would release it, Napalm Records was interested, and then we agreed that it would be a good thing that we could cover the cost of making the album with the crowdfunding, as because when you're a new band and you're a beginner in that way, so that the money that comes in from selling music is not that big yet, so they can't pay out for the whole budget that you have. So it's I think that it's still going to be Dark Sarah's path still for some time. I think that we need our fans' help in that way.
Yeah, the support of the fans. That is, I mean, that has slowly, that way to do things, so to speak, has slowly established itself as a method in the music industry. So it's actually pretty cool, both for the artists to be able to put out such big productions in that quality, as you were saying, and also for the fans to have the sense of being involved in the process. And just to keep the artists going. I remember you having pretty cool perks for the albums, especially for this one. There was some kind of jewelry, or am I remembering wrong?
Yes, jewelry. I started making jewelry. I've always made like some kind of jewelry, but I felt that I needed to, go a little bit further with this hobby of mine, and I started like making jewelry from scratch. So I buy a silver plate or band or something like that, and jewels. So I build them from scratch. So I have a little jewelry studio at home where I make them. At the moment, I've been busy working, so I haven't had time to do so much jewelry. But I have a lot of stones waiting for a little bit more spare time. So yes, but that's also one thing that I wanted to kind of. I always spent a lot of time figuring out the perks, and I feel like giving gifts to our fans. So they have to be good quality merchandise and with a thought and heart in them always.
Yes.
So that's what I feel that I owe to our fans who want to help us making music.
Do you sell that jewelry elsewhere, or are any of the perks that were included in the crowdfunding campaign available elsewhere?
Not all the perks, because some of the perks are exclusive for Indiegogo. But of course, I sell jewelry at our Dark Sarah web store. And soon we're going to actually expand a little bit our business.
Nice.
Yes, so because I have had this kind of dream of building up this kind of mystical lifestyle store, and I have been collecting different producers for different local producers for nice clothing and of course the honey that we have now is one of these new things that we have. We have our own beehive in Finland. It's this kind of how do you say, but it's korpikuusikon hunaja honey that we have in Finland. So there we have this kind of Dark Sarah beehive, and where our honey is collected from. So So that's what we also do. So small things and not much products, but we're going to have start this quite soon. Yeah.
That sounds great. We're just talking about that in the summer, about bands that have thought their merchandising products a little bit more, and that are going beyond the typical products that are, metal shirts and metal shirts. So
Yes, exactly. And that I was just actually yesterday talking to my husband, and I was saying that I really need something to give me, more motivation to run the web store, and that because it feels that even though we have good quality band merchandise, it's still not so many people come there all the time, buying the same t-shirts. So they maybe buy one t-shirt per one album, and maybe something else if you have, but that's all. So it's at the one point the sales end. And then you need to have something else, and I want to have a little bit different kind of idea with this kind of selling stuff to people. So it's not a little bit more ecological and with an idea, and something that you want to give yourself a little bit pampering or something like that. So that's what I've been wanting to create with the new upcoming store idea.
that sounds really cool. It sounds like you're really building your brand, actually.
Yeah, it does.
And of course, it centers around the music, but it's this complete, the whole package, so to speak.
Yes, I think that it's mainly because I have become a businesswoman, even though I didn't want that. It's not built in me in that way, but because I kind of feel that I have ideas how to kind of widen the scene of Dark Sarah, even though it's not all about Dark Sarah anymore. But still, it can be like a lifestyle, like what you when you are listening to our music and what kind of people listen to our music. And I felt that I think that we could maybe share a little bit more even than just the music. So in
Yes.
that way, I felt that maybe I could what I love. I want to sell the things that I like and what I love, and how I, if it's something that you can decorate your home with, so I could share that with our fans, or even people who just kind of share the same perspective of life. Yeah.
Who like the same aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, because that's exactly what a lot of musicians need nowadays. I mean, of course, musicians are artists, and that has a value of its own. But in order to make a living from that art, there needs to be this business perspective behind it, and marketing strategy. That's what I always say as well.
Yeah, that's true. And even though, like I said, I really, if I could, I would leave the whole business part and paying bills and everything like that to someone
Sure.
else. I would, but I really love creating ideas and making different kind of, now we have these glass orbs, and kind of digging out the people who would start working with us. And now we have a lot of small artists making the honey, and also these glass balls, these witch balls for Dark Sarah. And it's really lovely to kind of support the local businesses, and also artists like ourselves. So I think that if we have definitely supported artists with Dark
Yes.
Sarah too. Yeah.
And we were just talking about the whole crowdfunding campaign and everything. Have you thought about opening up your own Patreon page?
Yes, actually, I have been thinking about it, but because I'm really busy in my life, and even though I have a lot of different social media sites, I feel at the moment, actually, I feel that I don't have time to bring up that much content to every page. So it feels like a second job, actually. So in that way, I think that at the moment it would be too much. I couldn't,
Okay.
bring up such content. I'm making music and jewelry and Dark Sarah web store and working full time and teaching singing. So it's really, really a lot of things at the moment because of,
Oh,
yeah.
those are two different things.
What?
You have a day job,
Yes, at the
and
moment.
then you also teach sing. May I ask what it is? What you do?
I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. Actually, I have 5 different degrees. I've been studying a lot in my life. So I'm a classical singer and also a pedagogue, a music singing teacher from my um, education, but also
Mhm.
a primary school teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I haven't been working in school for many years. But now that the situation in the world and with the virus and everything, there's not so much other things to do. And of
Mhm.
course, teaching singing at this time is also a risky business in that way,
Yeah.
because I would need to cancel everything, if at the moment in Finland I can still teach singing, but I have to be really, really careful still with the with
Mhm.
the with the students and everything. I couldn't have like any choirs or anything like that going. So in that way, it was uh, uh, the time for me to go back to school, teach children, and that's what I've been doing, yeah, lately. And of course, I still need to have the singing students that I have. I want to still have them in my life and wait for better times. So in that way, yes, I need to do everything at the moment. So it's quite busy.
Yeah. And that also, as you were just saying, that also puts you at risk as well. Have you taken any measures personally to stay healthy and protect yourself from the virus?
Yes, in the spring, we didn't move from home much. We stayed
Mhm.
at home a lot, and I didn't teach singing in person at all when it was the first wave of the virus in Finland, because then everything went total lockdown. Nothing was working, and also I wasn't teaching except in online, but it's not that fun, of course. But it's still that some students still came on my online courses, but but of course I stayed a lot of home and did some
Mhm.
sports, and it was springtime, and I had lots of gardening to do. So in that way, it was I put all the energy into that. But now at the moment, I of course I have the mask everywhere, and so, but you can't sing with the mask that well. I that it's really hard to breathe and sing with it. But of course, if needed, that's something what we do also.
Okay, another question came to my mind,
Yeah,
and that's about the music videos.
yeah.
And if I look up at your YouTube, yeah, page and all these underneath,
Mm,
I see that in the last album you did more videos with the whole band, that typical performing videos, and before it was more like the storyline, to
mm.
tell the storyline, like, yeah, little musical. Is
Yes, that's something different too. We have always wanted to do a little bit different music videos that we have done before, and we thought that it would be fun to have the band there too, because I think that this is more band-driven album than any one of our albums before. So in that way, it was also a good moment to bring the band on stage too. that because that's what we do when we perform. So in that way, it was also a good thing to kind of give an idea of us being a performing band too, because we haven't been performing that much, even though we have wanted to. But our audience is in Central Europe, and it has been not so easy to get there from Finland. So we're hoping that when this virus hopefully is over, we can go to Central Europe once again, and maybe on a tour even. That's
That would be great.
that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the music videos, do you have any favorite of them? Like, what was your favorite music video of doing, acting?
Do you mean all the music videos, or just
Yes,
for Grimm? All.
all. If I
Oh,
see a little man, it's very colorful with lots of that. What is it? This colors in black
yeah,
light, I
yeah.
think.
Black light. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Neon lights and black light. I
Yes.
that was really fun because it was the little man was. It was a whole studio was built into a to look like a cave, and I can't believe that they did so much work for that. It was made with students, so in that way we didn't need to have like 10,000 euro budget for that kind of video, because always the props were made really well, and with big production, and we were lucky to be able to work with the students from Bojonmaa Opisto, which was this kind of audiovisual student line. What is it called? But anyway, but it was we did the videos, most of our videos with them for the two albums actually. Yes, but of course it was every music video has been shot in Finland except one, and we traveled to Spain, to Tenerife with JP, and we shot the music video at the dunes. Yeah, and it was really hot and really different from the shooting videos in Finland, because before that video it had always been really cold. Like for save me music video, it was in the end of October, and it was almost snowing, and I was outside in my dress
Ooh.
for two 2 days actually. So it was I was freezing.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
yeah,
can
so in
imagine.
that yes,
Wow.
in that way, from other end to the other end, so it was really hot, and my yes, but it was fun. It was fun, but really, really rough week, because we shot the one music video for 1 week, every day from 8 to 6, and
Wow.
yes, because we only had one camera. And we needed to make a lot of different angles for
Ah,
for the
okay.
video, and that way we needed to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, and it's really tiring actually
Yeah,
sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
sounds exhausting.
Yes, because we were fighting too with the sticks in the sand, so it was
Mhm.
really exhausting, like 6 hours of fighting in sand for
Whoa, good
many days.
training.
Yes, yes, it
But
was.
it turned out pretty great in the end. So,
Yes, I think it's visually it was straight from my imagination. Like the moment
oh wow.
where JP walks down from the dune,
Mhm.
it was the idea that I had in my mind for why we travel to the dunes, and I was actually looking for this kind of dunes, like googling where can I find
Mhm.
them except in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yes, so I didn't know that there was dunes in Europe too. So actually there's in Estonia, somewhere there, and in Finland too, but they are really different from each other. They Because the light in Finland is really different when we compare it to the Spanish
Mhm.
light, and then there is France, in France too, but it was so difficult path to get to those dunes. So then there's this Maspalomas, which is a really like a tourist place. So we thought that it would be best thing to go there, and also less expensive too.
Yeah. And how did you manage it that it's empty when you're filming?
Yes, it's I don't know if you know this, but it's this kind of a nudist nudist place. So where people go to spend their time or in their wearing nothing. So we, of course, there were people sometimes working, were not working, sorry, wal- walking to, you know, when, and we needed to wait, of course, that for the naked people to walk away.
Could be interesting background.
Yes. Yes, what is it? Of course, there some people started to watch the show, you know, and we needed to
Yeah.
kind of, please leave, you cannot stay here, because of course it was looking weird what we were doing too. Yeah.
And who did create the what's the word? Choreo? Because
Choreography.
choreography, yes.
Yeah.
If I watch at the fight, and also like you also did a dancing scene in another video.
Yes, we have professionals doing the Dance with the Dragon choreography for the tango, and we actually entered at this kind of a competition for in a show meaning. So we practiced a little bit more after shooting Dance with the Dragon. It was such fun, and after that for this. Trespasser video that I was talking about, we took lessons with modern dance, and we had this kind of dance choreographer for the one scene, and then we went to these fighting classes too in Finland for the whole summer. Before we shot that in the autumn, I think it was September, and we went for these fighting classes in Tampere, Finland for quite many months, like one time week. We did this, and he made the choreography too. So we practiced that in Finland, of course, because he couldn't come with us there. So we needed to learn the choreography before we left. So in that way, of course, big memories, because we prepared ourselves really well for those videos. It was a lot of work, but definitely worth it. Lots of nice memories.
Yeah, well, okay. Sounds impressive how much work behind this video is.
Yes,
Oh.
a lot of work in our
Yeah,
case every time. Yeah.
seems to be
And
okay.
for our new album actually too, because for this all ears video, even though it's not that big part in the video, but we made these giants with these hoods and with the arms and everything with my husband at home. So they are like almost like as how many meters? I think 3 meters tall, and
Wow.
then there is this one man standing on a, what is it called, ladders. Yes, standing on ladders, and under the costume. Yes, so and then it looks like a big man or hooded man with the big arms and everything, but they are not showcased in the all ears music video that much, but they are still in the background. And of course that in that way there's lots of work for every single music video, because we do almost all this kind of props ourselves, like dresses and everything like that. Like, or we don't make them by hand, but we order them and everything like that. So lots of thinking. Yes, lots of thinking to every time to go with an album and on the visuals and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
Oh, that sounds really cool.
I'm out of question, Kiki.
Yeah, I was thinking before we come to an end, A lot of bands have been also doing lots of live streams. Is that something you might look into?
Yes, and actually we did one because we couldn't go on tour and anything like that because of the situation at the moment. But we had a live stream straight from our album release show in August in Helsinki, and we also had some people that could come at that moment. It was the lockdown was over and people could go to concerts again. So we had a small audience there, live audience there too, and it was live streamed abroad, uh, all over the world, and that's something that we would. It was our first time to try that out, and of course, there's always some kind of technical things to go with anything like this, but of course, that would be something that we might do in the future too, if we cannot go abroad or touring or anything like that. And at the moment, there are not so many shows, and people who have been postponing their shows, they are now starting to, reschedule. So in that way, it's really crowded when finally people can go to concerts. So
Yes.
it looks a bit grim actually in our case.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see when we can start having shows again, and there's room for us someplace. And then, but now, because of the situation, I have started to write new album. I have no idea when it could be like released or anything like that. And actually, I'm not so worried about that yet. So it always takes a lot of time to make an album, and I think that I have like 12 songs, like the sketches at this moment. So I'm really productive. So I think that we could start pre-production in early next year actually. So let's see when we could have some news with new album coming.
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean, next year is already around the corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was also tying into the end of the episode, because we will be doing our next episode exactly about that, alternatives to live shows. Because we've been seeing many bands start to stream live on the different platforms. We've talked about on the podcast before about Trivium and their streaming activities. They did this huge global event where they live streamed live performance in an arena in the US. I mean, they're of course pretty huge bands, so they could do such a big production, but they're also now doing streaming their performances live on Twitch, for example. So there are people being creative as well and thinking of alternatives. In your in your country, Tuska, the festival is doing Tuska Utopia. That's a series of 3 live streams that are not live performances, but there are 3 pre-recorded performances by Turmion Ketilot, if I am butchering that name not too badly.
Yeah, really well, actually.
Oh, thank you. Battle Beast and Apocalyptica.
Yeah.
Those 3 shows will be live streamed this Friday, November, 13th?
Yeah.
On November 20th and on November 27th. And we will also be talking to the CEO of Tuska about those and about any other. We will be discussing other alternatives to live events that are kind of a necessity right now because, we don't know. This virus is pretty new. We've been living with it for almost a year, feels like, more, maybe. But we don't know when bands are going to be able to perform again as we were used to, or when and how that would actually work the next time we go to a concert or a festival. So it's actually not bad that we are looking into, or that everybody in general is looking into this, these new alternatives to bring the music to the people, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and that will be our next episode. So, Heidi, do you have anything else you want to say to our listeners, to your fans?
Yes, thank you for supporting Doxa. Thank you for listening and watching our music videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We promise that we will start being more active there personally as a band. And of course, follow us on Instagram, because I think that that's the most active place for us at the moment. So hope you are safe and well, and stay safe and well too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and also for us, Metal and High Heels,
Yeah.
subscribe us, and you can listen to our podcast on Spotify and Stitcher, and yeah, also iTunes or wherever you would like to listen to a podcast. And yeah, you can find the show notes for this episode on metal-and-highheels.com/podcast. What is it? 79?
78.
78. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 78.
Yes, and thank you so much to Cassandra Novell for our awesome jingle. That's from her song, from the song Storm by her band Mercy Isle. And thanks everybody so much for listening. Heidi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for this interview. It was fun.
Yeah,
Yes, it was so
thank you.
nice to catch
Great.
up with you. It's been too long, actually. We should do this more often.
Yeah, let's.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you next time, or hear you next time. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.